Hi everybody, a very warm welcome to my channel, which is Nelly the Narcissist. Thank you so much for joining today. For those of you that are brand new, I'm not a narcissist, but Nelly is the character in the comedy that I portray over here also on this channel. All links are below in the description box. And in today's podcast, I will be talking about as the empath rises, the narcissist will fall. And just before I start, if you'd like to help me out today, if you appreciate the video, then please do like it right now. Share it with anybody that you think is going to help. And also comment your thoughts down below if you resonate. And if you're not subscribed, then please do consider subscribing. Thank you. I know for a very long time within narcissistic relationships, and also if you've been discarded or when you realize that you're dealing with a narcissist and you get out, often, we as empaths won't realize the power that we always held over the narcissist. And this is because the narcissist doesn't allow us to know this truth, that we actually are the battery that they're plugged into. And it is the very best battery that they could ever get hold of. And why can't they allow us to know this? It's simple, because they want to keep onto the power themselves. They want to be master and lord over us, no matter the gender. Narcissists are fully aware of the spiritual power of empaths. This is because they love to fuel themselves off of empaths' energy, whilst also despising them at the same time. It's like they're parked in the gas station with their vehicle, fueling up, and at the same time, simultaneously draining the empath of everything that they've got and everything that they are. And of course, narcissists, they do know the difference in supply sources, because any addict, like they are, is aware of what is grade A, grade B, grade C, whatever. And also there's some batteries that you buy, more expensive, that have a better charge. They go on for longer, they give more energy, and people are exactly the same. And those that are empaths do have more charge than those that are not. And this is exactly why narcissists, they love to get hold of an empath if they can. I'm going to say that there are a lot of people that are going to claim that they're an empath when they're actually not. Because empaths are actually very rare to find. And narcissists are fully aware of this. So when they have an empath, they're aware that they've got something different, something precious to hold on to. Narcissists, they need empaths. And they hate empaths at exactly the same time. They're jealous and they envy everything that the empath represents. And that jealousy and that envy plays a huge part in the abuse dynamic, because the more they envy, the more that they're going to try to reduce you down to a pile of nothing, basically. And the abuse is nasty because they bully, they demean, they degrade, and they humiliate, all to minimize you. And their attack is to make you feel so bad about yourself and to break any kind of confidence or self-esteem that you may be in possession of. And yet we all know how covert the narcissistic abuse is. They wear you down and they erode you in so many little ways every single day. And while still, dangling this carrot of future faking, or showing you obviously just enough forced love and care to keep you around, just to keep you invested whilst all this abuse goes on. So we usually stick around. We stick around because we don't understand what's happening. How did this insane, miserable, traumatic existence even begin? What happened? Because at the start, it was so good. So why did it change? Narcissistically abusive relationships are incredibly confusing. They don't make any sense. And people will stay in these situations until they have all of the pieces of the puzzle that they need. But if the narcissist plan has worked, inside the relationship, you're going to feel terrorized and totally stuck. I had a lovely young lady recently email me some pictures of her before and after the narcissistic relationship that she was in. And it was like looking at two completely different people, because one was vibrant and colorful with life, and the other had none of those things. And I have seen many other people's pictures actually, including witnessing myself of before and during or before and after. Narcissistic abuse makes you resemble a completely different person visually. Without the narcissist, people are alive, but the photographs with the narcissist, people do not look well at all. In fact, people start to resemble the walking dead. Empaths, they look dead. They look gaunt, drawn, and drained. And if you're like me, you would have also got physically sick. And what this is exactly is the result of energetic draining. It's the result of spiritual abuse. And the visible decline is having your energy and your life sucked out of you, literally. If you look at any animal that has a parasite or a worm, for example, and they eat food, but they never get nutrients, that's exactly what takes place with narcissistic abuse. The narcissist, they parasite off of the energy of the empath, and sooner or later, the empath's going to start looking malnourished. We actually start getting sick in our body. And if anything screams louder that the relationship is not a healthy place to be, it is this physical transformation and decline that happens over time. And the light that was once bright, it gets darkened, and it's seen inside our whole aura. Our aura completely changes. We don't have the same radiance that we once had. But the thing is, you probably won't notice any of this until you're out of it and you get to observe looking back. Then you will see exactly what it did to you. By the way, I've never heard of anybody ever leaving a narcissistic relationship physically better off than when they entered it. It is not possible on any level. The narcissist energy harvesting actually goes on underneath the table. It's invisible to the naked eye. They do it covertly because they don't want you finding out what they're getting away with. That's not the plan, you see. The plan is to keep you in the dark, unaware of everything that's taking place, because not only would you leave if you actually knew, but remember, most importantly, this is most important, narcissists are going to be projecting their superiority the whole duration of that relationship. The superior power dynamic, it only works if you accept the idea that you are inferior to them. And when you accept it, you will be underneath their control. So they will be giving you all the time the false impression that they are better than you in every single way. And if they are so much better and you've got nothing on them, then obviously it's not going to look good if anybody finds out what they're really up to, that they're stealing your power and harvesting your energy for themselves. Because I don't even think that they want to actually admit that, truly, to them, because they don't want to admit that they need you, especially not an empath, as that damages their ego so much. Because in their minds, they're a god. In their eyes, they're a god. So why would a god need a mortal? Not to mention a god actually needing to trick and steal the energy and power out of mortals. Why? Why would a god need to do that if a mortal is so much lower than them? And because of all of that I've listed, the narcissist hates the empath because the empath is so needed. What happens in that relationship with the empath is they will be trained to be the servant and attendant. And the empath won't count in any way because the narcissist doesn't care about you. That's not what it's about. It's never about you. We are there to serve and to serve alone. And this is how empaths get tricked by narcissists into believing, obviously, that the narcissist doesn't need you in any way, that the narcissist is more powerful than you, because the narcissist would have robbed, basically, all of the power from you and drained your battery and brainwashed you to accept a lower position. And here is when it really gets interesting, because when you get out of the abuse dynamic and you begin your healing and you start getting your clarity back and you start to regain your sense of identity that the narcissist also would have stolen from you, because they do that too. And over a recovery period, most empaths, they gain this awareness that they were always the power station, that it was them all along that they were literally the source of the narcissist's power. And in fact, the narcissist alone has no power at all. If narcissists were really all that, then why would they need to lie and deceive and rob from others? When empaths, they start recovering their energy back, what happens is their vibrancy starts to return. And it's actually here that they begin to get a clue just how much the narcissist had drained them. And that's why I always say that narcissistic abuse is spiritual abuse. And those that have dealt with a malignant narcissist, they usually do awaken to this truth sooner or later. And more people that have dealt with malignant narcissists are finding their way to my channel, which is good, where I speak a lot about this spiritual narcissistic abuse. And this is a huge piece of the puzzle where obviously psychologists will never ever take you, because the true reality is you were in a spiritual battle. And if you were like me, you thought that the idea of good versus evil was just like limited to movies. And then you realize that these battles are in everyday life, but they're totally hidden from the naked eye. You have to be trained to see them. And the reason why this actually is because evil hides and it lurks. It doesn't like to reveal itself because exposure leaves it vulnerable. It can't step into the light because the light makes it powerless. So evil is itself very, very cowardly. That's why it bullies. That's why it hides. That's why it doesn't like a fair fight, which is why narcissists know that their power lies in their mask and covertly destroying the empath from the inside out. And the narcissist takes that empath's beautiful light and feasts off of it. It becomes their fuel. So they drain you of all of that life because your life is your light. Although the recovery from narcissists is super, super painful, obviously it's a better pain than staying with a narcissist. But initially, especially when the trauma bond is still active, it is incredibly hard because you're addicted to them. But as you start healing slowly, then the realizations will begin to happen. And with the healing process and doing the work to get there, you will start recovering yourself. And that energy will be powering back to you. And you'll begin getting brighter then and more vibrant. Now, returning to the pictures of people that have been in narcissistically abusive relationships, where they start off, they enter looking like themselves, and then over time, they start looking worse and worse and worse. Definitely not well, and definitely not themselves anymore. There are certain film depictions, and please do comment down below what films I'm thinking of, because I can't think exactly myself right now. But they're either a witch or a demon that comes along and sucks the life out of people. They either put their hands on them to transfer the life force out of them, or they literally suck through the mouth. So I know Hocus Pocus is one, but there's some other depictions that are more horrific. Because this kind of thing has been represented in quite a few films, I'm not talking about vampires because that's a different thing. Similar, but it's not the same. Because it has been represented in the films, I'm sure that it's based on much older folklore, but I'm not too sure from where it originates. If you have any kind of clue, then please do drop it down below in the comments. But basically, the evil creature, the demonic entity, comes along and either, like I said, through the hands or directly through the mouth, they suck the life out of the victim. And they transfer all of their life force and all of the energy to power them. So they become brighter and more powerful, but at the same time, the victim loses all of their color and sometimes also physically ages. And if they take too much of this vital energy from the victim, then the victim doesn't make it. Now, these depictions that take place in films mimics exactly what narcissists do to us, especially to empaths. And this is why there can be that aging process, as well as a complete dimming of your life vitality. It's not possible to be vibrant around a narcissist. It's just not, because they're always going to be draining you. But on the flip side, when the narcissist loses the empath, what was going so well for them does not continue in the same way. Now, they were riding the gravy train when the empath was around. And suddenly, when the empath leaves, the gravy train stops. And for anybody that doesn't know what a gravy train is actually a situation where somebody gets a whole load of benefits, money, or rewards with very little effort. They can just sit back and collect by taking advantage of others. And in the context then of narcissistic abuse, you as the empath were the gravy train because you were constantly giving your love and your support and your energy, whilst they took and took without giving anything really real in return. So imagine this, suddenly the gravy isn't flowing anymore like it used to. And this picture of you, the empath, inside that narcissistic relationship, it gradually and eventually becomes the narcissist when you are no longer around. And I've seen this for myself on 2 different occasions where I saw the narcissist basically aging and not looking vibrant at all because they lost that energetic connection to the empath's fuel, to the fuel bank, and they didn't find anybody to replace them. So they become then drained of life force that they need to steal from others, and it begins to show on them. And then the sweetest thing happens actually when you start getting yourself and your life back. You recover that energy that was lost, you recover yourself, and you develop a new you, a brand new life, because destruction means that we have to rebuild as new. We keep hold of what serves, but we let go of everything else. We become a stronger, healthier, and wiser person. We grow tremendously. We grow branches that we never even knew that we had. And those branches in time, they begin to blossom. And in even more time, they start to have fruits. And then we begin to harvest those fruits of our own beautiful labor, the healing that we've done basically on ourselves. And as this light accumulates, the narcissist falls further and further down. And here is the divine truth, because you were never meant to stay with the narcissist. That connection, it wasn't your destiny. It was your initiation, because they came into your life not to complete you, but to awaken you, to show you what you are not, so you could remember who you truly are. And what I saw in my own relationship was at the very end of that situation, that scenario, I obviously was at my lowest point, whereas in comparison, the narcissist was at their peak. And yet I want you to know, if this is you right now, the tables can very swiftly turn. You are in inverted places. Narcissists don't belong up here, and you don't belong down here. The only reason they got to elevate themselves was by putting you down. And obviously, the more that they can push you down, the higher that they can get. But it's like a fuel tank. If you're going to drive a car for a good number of miles, there's only so far you're going to get before the car's going to stop moving, because it needs more fuel. Remember, narcissists, they need a lot of supply, a lot of energy to keep them going, because they really burn through fuel at a rapid speed. Now, the narcissist will never credit you for the energy that they've taken. In fact, you might hear narcissists tell you that they've given you way more than what you've ever given them. I heard that one. It's the last thing that they're going to admit to you. If they admitted to you that they've taken your energy and they've needed you so badly, then it's going to cause a massive narcissistic injury for them. Now, something that narcissists are is massive bluffers. They're bluffing, they're lying through their teeth, and they're fakers, and they're projectors, and they always fake and project how they don't need you. They don't need you at all. In fact, isn't it you that's the one that's weak and pathetic and lost without them? But this is never the truth. This is the lie, because there is no part of you, only the addicted part, that thinks that you need them. But there is no true part of you that has ever needed anything from the narcissist, because the narcissist has nothing to give. They only have the possibility to take from you and to take from others. But of course, it's in their grandiose interest to give you this idea that you can't live without them, that you're dependent on their energy source. They want you to think that they are the power bank. But the truth is, they have no power by themselves. They've been coasting. They've been free riding off of your power and your energy. And what happens when the narcissist doesn't have you, doesn't have the empath, and can't find anybody else to give them that kind of quality fuel? What's going to happen is their position is going to start sliding. And as you start recovering yourself, your energy is going to start to rise. And as you rise, believe me when I say, they're going to fall. They never want to see you recover yourself. They would love to see you waiting in that darkness for them to return. They don't want you ascending higher than them. Because if you start to get your energy back and you start to rise too high, they won't be able to reach you. Negative energy operates from very low vibrations, very low levels. If you're out of that energy, they can't touch you. The very sweetest victory is to witness what levels you're both at in your lives after a certain amount of time has passed. And I have seen so many beautiful empath souls that have taken the darkness of that abuse and they've turned it around and they've regained their power and light and they've risen from the ashes. And the very worst scenario for a narcissist is sitting and waiting on the sidelines, watching your ascension journey and not being able to bring you down again. I get asked quite a few times, and I see this actually circulating a lot on social media, is it the narcissist's mission to actually come on in and do something positive for us? Because they seem to awaken empaths to the truth of their own power and light. And they want to know, people want to know, is that really the mission of the narcissist? And I say, absolutely not. That is the last thing that they want. That's their anti-mission. Their mission is to stop you from ascending. The ascension journey, unknown to them, awakens because of the presence of the divine power within you. You can clearly see your light only by being up against their darkness. And you can only know the love, the power of that divine love that you have within you from being surrounded by evil. And there is a beautiful African proverb that says that the desert teaches us more about water than the ocean ever could. This is exactly what happens in narcissistic abuse. We have had the absolute opposite to awaken us to the truth of who we are. And I know that everybody's at different stages in their healing. So if you're further along like I am, you probably know this for yourself. But if you're fresh into recovery, you may not believe it. And yeah, I do want you to know life can change. Life can be totally different. You can get yourself back. You will get yourself back. You'll get your health back, your money back, your glow back, whatever it is, your whole life. And we need to be careful because when we recover our energy and we start to shine again, it's very common for a narcissist to start looking at us and thinking, ooh, they look very attractive again. There's a lot of energy there for me to go back in and raid. And narcissists are raiders, they're energetic raiders. Don't allow them to raid any of your reserves anymore. They don't deserve your energy. Your energy is for you and your life. Over time, you are going to start to rise. And over time, what's going to happen as you're ascending, the narcissist is going to be descending without you. Because the narcissist needs you, but you never needed them. So don't believe the lie or the bluff or the projections of the narcissist that they're better than you, that they don't need you, that their life is better somehow, or they're doing okay. This is a lie. If you have been the empath to the narcissist, this is the lie. And why you must Do everything in your power to recover and heal and focus on positive things. Focus on yourself, put all of your energy into your healing. It's so important because this is not what they want. They don't want your ascension, which is why we must rise. If you want to take revenge on a narcissist, this is what you have to do. But as you ascend, you're going to figure out that they were never important. That they were never all that. They were never anything to you. You're going to see them for exactly who and what they are. But more importantly, you're going to see yourself. So I hope that this video has been helpful to you today. If it has, then please do like it, share it, do everything that I asked at the very start. For now, thank you so much for watching. Take care, sending love, and I'll see you all again next week.